All right. 3.3, tonight we're talking about proving lines parallel. So again, our whole objective for today is to prove that lines are parallel. So to review, I want you guys to look through maybe your 2.2 notes and remind yourselves, what does the converse mean? And then I want you to write the converse of the following statement. So let's see, on your cheat sheet, we're going to write some things down on that yellow cheat sheet. So if you don't have it with you tonight, definitely write it down tomorrow. I want you to write down what the converse of corresponding angles postulate is. Let's see. The converse, again, means you're going to flip the conditional statement. So if I was going to rewrite this one, you would do your conclusion or your Q first, and then you would do your hypothesis, your P. So you're flipping. So if A, B, and C are collinear, then AB plus BC is going to equal AC. So corresponding angles postulate, that's what we talked about in 3-2. Corresponding angles postulate said, if I told you that two lines are parallel, okay, and I gave some angles like this. There's one's angle 1 and this one's angle 3. Well, because they're corresponding angles and because these lines are parallel, they're going to be congruent to each other. That's what the corresponding angles postulate says. We're going to use these in proofs. Now, the converse of the corresponding angles postulate, and this is what you're going to write down on your yellow cheat sheet, and we'll do it in class if you need to, flips it. So if I tell you angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 1 and angle 3 are in the same spot again, right? Then I can say that these lines must be parallel. So if I say this is line A and this is line B, I can say A is parallel to B. There's actually four different converses that we're going to talk about today. So this is just the converse of corresponding angles. So the first part of your notes, it says use the converse of corresponding angles to show that line L is parallel to line M. I know it looks like it in this picture, but you need to be able to prove it. So for example, the first one says angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. I want you to use the converse of corresponding angles. So let's look at 4 and 8. Are they congruent to each other? Are they corresponding angles? Yes. So since they are, we can say that L is parallel to M by the converse of corresponding angles. So we just proved that those lines are parallel. If we look at 2, it says angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Well, again, these are corresponding angles. If you look, there's the upside down F, right? Angle 1 and angle F are in the same spot. So yes, these are corresponding angles and they're congruent. So line L is parallel to line M by the converse of corresponding angles. Okay. Number 3 talks about angles 3 and 7. So let's look at 3 and 7. Okay, cool. 3 and 7, we know that they're in the same spot, so they are also corresponding angles. Here's the F again. So we know they're going to have to be equal to each other, but this one doesn't say that they're congruent. It says measure of angle 3 is 4x minus 80, and measure of angle 7 is 3x minus 50, and it tells us what x equals. So you don't even have to do any algebra. All you guys have to do in this case is plug it in, because we know that measure of angle 3 should be equal to measure of angle 7. So let's try it. 4 times 30, I'm plugging x in here, minus 80. Okay, well that's 4 times 30 is 120. 120 minus 80 is 40. We're going to do the same thing for measure of angle 7. We're going to take x and we're going to plug it in here. So 3 times 30, that's 90, minus 50 is 40. So on your assignment for this section, you have to actually show all this work. And now that you know that they're equal to each other, now we can say that line L is parallel to M by the converse of corresponding angles. Okay, so you're going to do the same kind of thing for the rest of those problems. Okay. We're going to talk about converse of alternate interior angles, converse of alternate exterior angles, and converse of same side interior angles. We're definitely going to write this down on our cheat sheet, but let's draw a little picture up here just so we have it in our notes. Alternate interior angles, we know if we have a picture like this, alternate interior angles are like here and here. So if I give you a picture like this, again, I'm not saying anything about the lines being parallel, because if these are congruent, then that means that the lines are going to be parallel. Okay. It's kind of, again, we use converse to prove lines are parallel. That's all we're doing today. Converse of exterior angles. If I tell you that exterior angles are congruent, I'm not saying anything about the lines yet. We don't know anything about the lines. Then we know that the lines are going to be parallel. Okay. Now the last one is converse of same side interior angles. So that one, we know that the angles aren't congruent, but they are supplementary. So for this one, if I give you a picture like this, and these are same side interior angles, if I tell you that measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 add up to be 180 degrees, then we can say that the lines are parallel. Okay. I know that's a lot at you. It's kind of exactly the opposite of what we've been doing all week, which is kind of sometimes hard. Let's see. The next part, it says example 2. Again, determine whether the lines are parallel. Use the given information and the theorems you have learned, so by theorems I mean these 3 and then the one on the other page, to show that line R is parallel to S. So here's R and here's S. In this picture it says 7, it says angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. So here's 4 and here's 8. What kind of pairs do they look like? Do they look like alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side, or corresponding? To me, since they're outside of the parallel lines, they look like alternate exterior angles. So by converse of alternate exterior angles, we can say that line R is parallel to line S. So again, we use converse to prove lines are parallel. Okay? I want to see if you guys can finish that first page and finish number 9, and then we'll do the rest tomorrow in class, and we'll definitely do this proof tomorrow. Sweet. Do not forget that you need to do your reflections in order to get full points for your notes. Also, fun fact of the video, did you know that a hummingbird weighs less than a penny? Interesting. Sweet. We've talked about proving lines parallel. We've talked about hummingbirds. We've talked about converses. Sweet. Good stuff. Make sure you guys are staying awesome.